Welcome back, everybody, to the CRAA Men's 15s Championship Weekend here at Kuntz Stadium in Indianapolis, Indiana. I'm Alex Goff. I'm with former Eagle Phil Teal, and we are wrapping up what has been a really exciting and fun weekend with the D1A Challenger Final between the Utes of the University of Utah and the Panthers of Davenport University. And Phil, this is a bracket that gives an opportunity for teams that have been building toward a potential postseason, don't quite make that round of 16, and D1A has offered them that opportunity to play in a postseason. They played in a first round earlier in the spring, and then Friday we had the semifinals. These teams obviously won those, and then into this final. So it's kind of a cool way to end the season.
Well, you love to give these teams an opportunity because rugby is all about growth right now. It used to be so top-heavy, especially in the collegiate game. Now we're seeing a lot more parity. We saw last night with the Cal-Navy game, of course, the two pedigrees there,
yes,
right, coming out for the D1A championship. But here we get a Utes team that beat Santa Clara on Friday, and then, of course, we have the Davenport team that beat St. Thomas. So these are teams that have worked their way here, and they deserve a payoff for this. And one of these teams is going to get that payoff today. We don't want to call it the Tier 2 of D1A. We want to call it the teams that are the Challenge Cup.
The challenge, right? They're challenging, right?
Yes.
University of Utah played a tight one with Santa Clara. It was 14-14 at halftime, I believe, and did well to pull away in the second half to win that one. Meanwhile, Davenport fell behind 15-0 after 15 minutes against St. Thomas. Bobcats looked like they were going to run away with it, and then Davenport just kind of ramped up their defense, and it ended up being that they were leading 28-23, time almost done, and then St. Thomas scored, tied it 28-28, and then just enough time for one more possession, and Davenport scores in the corner and wins it. So so much drama. If you missed it, go back and look at that one. That was just a lot of fun to call. Fantastic. And so we have Davenport coming out in their gray and red combination kit, and Utah will be wearing their white with their black shorts. And we will line up, we will get ready for the national anthem here at Kuntz Stadium, the final match as we have been crowning champions and champions throughout the weekend. And Amelia Luciano is your center referee, with John Cooper and Will Nelson on the sidelines as we get ready for the anthem. And a great moment for both of these teams to stand and honor America while we get ready for the kickoff. Now they're going to huddle up. And a couple of changes for these teams. A couple of players coming in for Utah and able to just sort of change that lineup a little bit. Meanwhile, Phil, Davenport, some significant changes.
Yeah, especially Joshua Bota, who was one of the key engineers for that comeback against St. Thomas, traveling back to graduate, of course, student athletes, student being the number one key here. These guys went back home for their graduation. They got the team here. Now they're relying on their mates to finish the game off. I want to make a quick comment. Kit versus kit here. We've got a very old school style for Utah here with the big collars versus a very fresh look for the Panthers. Really excited for this one to kick off here, Alex.
Yeah, Panthers a bit shiny, kind of glittery as well. Yes, old school versus new school. And the ball goes up. Hoving has lifted that high, taken by the Utes. The Utes have a very good maul if they can get that going. And they use Logan Haw as their captain. Both locks, both number 5, number 4 on one side, number 5 on the other side will be your captains. And a charge down. That ball's rolling in goal. That's going to be a try. That is going to be a try for Davenport. We're going to check that. Yes, referee says good.
And what a play early on by number 7, Maximus Goltels. Charging that down over the line, Alex. We're not even a minute into this one, and the Panthers strike first, pounce on that kick, and score the try.
Local boy, finance major from Kingsley, Michigan, Max Goethals, along with his brother, Sam, who's a senior and in at inside center. He was outstanding on Friday and so quick off the ball, and he's got some height too, so very difficult to kick that by him.
And you know, I can tell you here as we line up for this kick, I am from a stone's throw from Kingsley in Traverse City, Michigan.
Really?
Kingsley, a small town, Division 5 and 6 football players. I'm sure the Goltels brothers were excellent football players. They raise tough kids in Kingsley. It is it's an athlete town full of hard-charging guys. So the Goltels brothers here, definitely a strong piece for the Panthers team.
That's right, Traverse City Alliance.
Traverse City Alliance, yeah,
right.
And then the Traverse Bay Blues, my homestead of rugby, if you will.
That's right, yes, the nursery that bred the great Phil Teal. And, you know, right up there, up in the north too, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And the kickoff from the fullback, Wyatt Luntz, taken. And the Panthers go straight up, but isolated and quickly over the ball is Utah. And you will see that from the Utes. They will be attentive to any isolated tackle player.
That back row there, Bressenden, Nugent, and Wormer there, excellent over the ball, really, really dangerous players. They're aggressive over it. They play to the referee's whistle, and they're always skirting the edge of that whistle. You'll see them over the ball, as you mentioned, Alex, all day today.
Well, that kick to touch, that far sideline, tough to kick to. The wind is howling, gotta say, really from an angle from where that player entrance tunnel is across toward the opposite corner or right into our faces really here on the broadcast booth. The throw now for Utah from Palmberg. Go up and taken by Clements and the maul. You see they set that maul really fast and they get their bodies behind it. Clements lifted up in the air, urging his players on. That one splinters a little bit.
Well done there by Davenport to crack that one from the inside, legally getting it to ground.
Now the forwards just stay with it with the Utes. Again, a pickup, just picking up a little bit high. Once again, Utes, though, charging forward. If they spend time standing up there, Phil, though, that's just an opportunity for the defense to come and get them and knock them backward.
Yeah, Davenport, the pack there, 1 through 8, a little bit larger than Utah, just physically bigger bodies. So you've got to get your body height down there if you're the Utes. You see a lot of longer, leaner bodies, especially in the second row, back row. Very athletic players for the Utes. But down here by the goal line, all that athleticism is not going to matter if you can't get your shoulders down and get under those big bodies of the Panthers.
That's right. Guilty of collapsing the maul is Davenport. So we will go back for another line out. And this one, just 4 players in the lineout. No, they're bringing in a 5th one.
Look for the maul here again, as you mentioned, Alex, that quick set maul for the Utes.
Sending up Clements once again.
This time around the corner went Utah with through their 9. Quick pick and go here from the Utes.
Yes, but they lose it. And the Panthers have it. Surge forward, very well done, just to get some gain there. And that ball, loose ball, Panthers still trying to figure out how to get themselves out of trouble, just forcing it a little bit, and that ends up being a knock-on off that offload.
Yeah, knocked into touch there. Looks like it's going to be a line out here. Ball went straight into touch here. Another line out for the Utes. Overall, I would have said well done by the Panthers. Thought they stopped that first maul legally, but Utah here, as we know, that quick maul set, very dangerous here from the Utes.
Going to Clement, and why not just go to him again? It works. This maul much better. Trundling forward like a giant tortoise. Still going, still going. The Utes to the line, over the line, on the ground. Try, Utah.
And as we know, the tortoise and the hare, we know who won that race, Alex.
Right.
And in this case, it's the tortoise moving at a rapid pace,
There's a pretty fast tortoise, yes, for sure.
Just barreling over that line. What a weapon, even with the smaller pack from Utah, just able to fly through the Davenport maul defense there. Davenport is going to have to keep an eye on that. They're going to have to set quicker. They're probably not going to be able to compete near the goal line. Get down, splinter that lifter-jumper combo, and try to get in there and slow that thing down, because that is a dangerous maul.
Right in the middle there was also Dylan Saucedo, the scrum half for Utah, urging his players on, but they set that maul quickly and they start moving quickly, low, and they just have those little legs pumping, and it's working for them.
You know, and you see it, and they do such a great job. What they're doing is their pocket player, right, that pocket forward, is getting his hands on that ball before it even gets to the ground. So he's setting it quickly. Their other players are not allowed to leave the lineout anymore and come back in, but they're shuffling down the lineout quickly, and they're right on top of him. So he's able to get it, pop back legally, and he's at the tail of that maul in a split second, and they're moving forward.
Well, it all came to fruition. Utah ties it up 5-5 after what has to be said, kind of a soft try, that charge down.
Yeah, right back in the game are the Utes.
We're going to see the wind be a massive factor in the kicking game here. Knocking down kicks from Utah here in this first half. Davenport, all kinds of options. Going there with Tayele. Now running it wide. Benny trying to offload it to Albrecht, the wing. Dug out by Pearson. Hoving, who was scrum half on Friday, now he is fly half. Utah got to be careful, they got to stay on their feet. Hoving again, sending it wide, out through Goethals. Well, that's a strong run, the cutback run, driving legs.
And down to ground there. Well done to get down, nearly held up in the tackle there was the Davenport player. Bit of miscommunication here, though.
Well, it's just rescued. Hoving has it and hands out. Albrecht now takes off down the sideline. He has Bannister with him. Pearson to Hoving. Flat ball. O'Day onto it. Another hard charge right off 10. Certainly playing most of their attacking lines off 10. Now through, and that ball is jarred loose from the tackle. And Tango Gidlana, the fullback, who set up that game-winning try on Friday, hit hard, loses that ball. Utah has it. Good tackle. Davenport driving the Utes back.
That was Kambani there with the big shot, the big lock. Kambani comes in and puts a huge shoulder into that puts his shoulder to the wheel, if you will, and drives the Utah attack backwards. But coming back for that knock-on, as you mentioned, from Gidlana, setting up that try on Saturday. Just here, some back and forth stuff now in between the 10s and 22s, you know, settling into the rugby game. We had the first 2 tries. Now you'll probably see a lot of action between the 22s as these 2 teams have already scored but are going to be feeling each other out here, throwing punches into the wind, if it were, in this case. And you mentioned it, that kick from Utah, you saw that thing just die in midair.
Yes, and if they're going to try and clear their lines again, they've got to be careful about that. And there, penalty against Davenport. Not driving square.
You saw it, though, on Friday. Santa Clara was really dominant in the scrum against Utah, and Davenport, big bodies across the board. You see, not the tallest of back row players, especially number 8, Tyeli. He's a big body there at the back, but they're strong in the scrum. Let's see, they probably saw that on film with Santa Clara taking advantage of the Utah scrum. See if they try to isolate that here. Penalty against the Panthers, but we'll see how that plays out throughout the game, because they went forward very quickly there, too quickly, almost, according to the referee.
Yes. Pretty good touch finder from McElreath. Tapped back by Nugent. Oh, and a little bit of drop, just took his eye off the ball. Ian Wormer won't be happy with that.
It looked like he was trying to set up something there, either a loop around or just trying to get a tips-on pass. Something there that just drew his attention away from the ball. You saw the hands separate, ball slips right through there. Unfortunate there for Wormer.
Well, that's the lesson. Catch the ball first. Everything else happens after that. You got to catch it first.
That's why they call it catch and pass, not just pass, right, Alex?
That's right.
Or if you're me, catch, hold on to it, probably get hit, then maybe pass, but likely just catch.
The scrum will go to Utah. The initial knock on by Davenport. Saucedo played for Granite Bay from Casa Robles High School in California. And you see, you see Granite Bay players pretty much everywhere. I don't know why. They scatter to the wind. I'll tell you that.
You know, all these great programs, all these great high school programs that have emerged over the last 15 to 20 years in the U.S., really just pumping out players. I mean, we've been talking about it all weekend, how the collegiate game is so alive and well, but the high school game growing at a rate of knots. Excellent for the higher levels of rugby here in the U.S.
And the 8-man pick, Wormer, going around the outside. Sky hooks it back inside. Kambani with the tackle. Oh, lowers a shoulder now. The Utes just into the Davenport half, right at halfway now. Saucedo picks that up, loose ball. McElreath looking for a little help. Just taking it himself, that's Xander Ward. Hawes, the captain. Saucedo working quickly, trying to find something. They don't like it. They're going to go kick to the boot. A nice little line drive kick, and Gidlana trying to control it, knocks it on, and not happy with himself at all. Did have the presence of mind, at least, to pick that up and make sure there wasn't a turnover.
Awkward bounce there on kind of a sideways, sidewards kick, Alex. That thing popped up. It really caught him by surprise, and unfortunately for the 15, they're unable to handle it. I just want to make a quick point. Not only the forwards here, Utah needs to play a fast game. You just look at the physical bodies between these players. They need to play quickly. You see them trying to do it. Davenport is going to control the interior of the game. They're going to control the contact area. You've seen it so far, but Utah, if they can play through their speed, they do have great opportunities out wide.
Those little dying quail kicks and the line drives actually could be useful into the wind. Well, they're going straight to the 12. Seidel. Carson Seidel. Digging it out. Utah just consolidating, trying to figure out where to go now. Can they set everything up? Slow ball coming into that, out of the back of that ruck. So they go with Hawes. If they're not sure if they're getting any go forward, they go to the captain. Then to Palmberg. Palmberg offloads it. Davenport's got to be careful. Nice tipped ball from Clark. Bodies over that, and now through the hands, out to the inside center. Seidel taken down again. Saucedo picks it up. Little dummy, straight ahead. McElreath. Pause again.
See the Utes here building the phases across the field, earning that right to find some space.
Luntz, the fullback, coming in as first receiver. McElreath now, well, he wants it to go to the right. Hawes this time dishes it off in a little bit of a switch move. And now with Seidel, just makes that gain line. This is slow going forward and back by Utah, but they are retaining that ball. Hawes too high in tackle, and he is hit and lifted and driven back, and that could be an opportunity for Davenport. And yes, that becomes a maul. It's a turnover, scrum to the Panthers.
And you saw there Jack Snedanko from Davenport there in the hooker holding that one up. Again, not the tallest through their team here is Davenport, but they're getting underneath the Utes in the contact area. That time it was Hawes, who's had a good game so far. Just about 15 minutes into this one, he's been very active early on. Just held up in that tackle. You mentioned, Alex, got to get a little bit lower. We're going to be talking about it throughout the game here, the difference in the body styles, the difference in the physicality between these two teams. Utah has to take advantage when they can of their speed, and when they're in those close combat areas, they've got to get the shoulders down, get underneath those big arms and shoulders of the Davenport players.
Jack Snedanko, who is a business management major from the Granville program in Michigan, from Wyoming, Michigan. And Granville is always producing tough players and has been probably for the men and women at Davenport, one of the biggest providers of players for those programs.
Oh yeah, you're down there, Granville, Rockford, those teams down near that Grand Rapids area, the southern Michigan area. Great programs all across the board in their sports, especially when it comes to rugby though. Really pouring resources, great athletes go into those programs and come back out.
Davenport with the ball now, looking to use Freeman. Gidlana out to Albrecht. Albrecht now has a little bit of space. Tackled nicely by Seidel. Dug out by Pearson. Hoving, flat ball again. They're running those flat passes off 10. Getting that to the number 4 is actually O'Day. Kambani and O'Day having switched numbers again. Depends what fits them, I guess. What they think they look good in. Pearson. Slow, waiting. Hoving wanted his players there. There's Kambani, the skipper. He is hit with interest by Xander Ward. Good tackle from the outside center. One-on-one with the lock. Quick hands again. Gidlana trying to control that one. That was a difficult pass for him to get, but we are going to go back to an advantage. Referee Luciano has...
And she trots all the way across the field.
All the way across the other side of the field.
Putting in some gassers across the field here is the referee. A little extra fitness work for these players. And after a long weekend, the last thing they need is extra fitness work.
Right.
These guys are going to be some tired bodies going home. One of them will be going home, the Challenger Cup champion. So far, 5-5, Alex, just about 20 minutes in. As we mentioned, some back and forth stuff here in between the 22s as these two teams try to crack each other's defense.
Well, what a great way to end the season, though. I just love the players really like it to just end with a game like this. There's a trophy at the end of it. There's something to play for. Say, hey, this is going to be our final road trip. For a lot of these players, their final run out together.
For a lot of these players, it will be. We've talked about the seniors as we get into this lineup here, Alex. We'll talk about it in just a minute. But the seniors have been a huge part of all of these teams.
That one snagged very nicely, and Davenport sets up the maul. Off the back now. Snedanko looking for a little bit of help.
Gets it in the form of Freeman, who picks that one up off the ground. But
they lose that.
Yeah, lost there in the tackle area. Looks like the ball just squirted out. Some loose hands and feet there. Not a great placement back. It was Freeman who had picked that up and did a great job off the ground, but then just losing it in that contact area.
And now Utah, big hit. O'Day makes the hit. Struggling out of it is Clement.
Clemens did really well there. He got smashed by O'Day, kept his feet moving, spun off to the side.
McElreath now takes it himself, tackled by 2. Hands on the ball. And that'll be not releasing the tackled player. And they could have said maybe a little bit too slow to roll away, but that's Joe Benny. He put that universal gesture of, I don't get what that call was.
He had the hands out of the pockets, right? The poor man, hands out of the pockets, saying, hey, what'd I do wrong here? And again, we never question the referee from up here in the booth. It was a close call, referee deciding that he didn't give the clear release before he got the hands on, and it's a penalty for Utah.
You have to not only do the right thing, but be seen to do the right thing.
It's a bit of acting.
Yeah.
So throw those hands to the side, then come back on top of that.
Carson Pomberg with the throw. San Diego Mustang won a championship with them last year. This is his first year with the Utes. Down from Hawes, out from Saucedo, out to the number 8, Wormer.
That's a good first phase ball there.
Oh. A little bit of a hop needed to catch that one. Everybody to the right for Utah. And they went with that flat pass. Great pass from Seidel to Ward. Ward beats another. He's in for the try, just like they drew it up.
Great second phase there. Set up though by the first phase. You saw the hard carry come in. They dented the defense. Now Davenport's defenders have to work their way around that breakdown. They don't quite get wide enough, and what that does is it's inches at a time. It's not feet or meters at a time. Now the Davenport defenders can't get wide and crash back outside to inside that rugby league style defense. They're drifting now. Their hips are turned, and as you mentioned, Ward takes advantage of it, flies, finds the hips, the soft hips, cuts back inside, beats one man, he's over the line.
I think the consensus punditry in this stadium, judging from who I had talked to, is surprised at the scoreline.
You know,
I think they were expecting Davenport to take an early lead.
I'm going to be honest with you. I am not surprised by this score line. People looked at the sides that we talked about, Davenport, what they did with St. Thomas, how they came back, the physically imposing, the D1A style of a lot of their players' bodies versus Utah, which is a little bit smaller. They're a little bit leaner across the board, and the fact that they played a Santa Clara team that they had to really struggle with. And Santa Clara was a good side. We saw a lot of great bodies across there, and there was some punditry, but I'm not going to throw stones. I thought that this was going to be a really close one, and I'm really excited to see how this has panned out here through the first 20 minutes.
The kick is good, 12-5. That ball is allowed to drop, but gathered by Luntz, and he will kick to touch. Really needed to make touch, and he did, and he made about 5 meters with it. Did very well, but that is definitely a net gain for Davenport.
He got smashed there. I believe that was by Bannister as he tried to kick that one away. Absolutely hammered in the contact. Bannister working hard on that kickoff. Now, if Davenport does things like this, they are going to start edging ahead. If Utah makes mistakes like that, they are going to start leaking tries. So they have to stay focused in this one.
Taken by Kambani. The maul is set. Good drive from Utah, though. But now, on the outside, Snedanko taking it up. Slow ball. Utah, though, going through. Not much of a tackle, commitment to the tackle on that one. Down to the line, referee says held up.
Well done there. Great scramble by the Utes. Well worked by Davenport. The shots fired across the bow there, though, by Davenport, getting over the line with some big physical running from Snedanko, as you mentioned. And I think that was Goltos again that may have gotten around the corner there. Well done by Davenport, taking advantage of their physicality, but Utah scrambling, surviving, and now opportunity for a little bit of breathing room here with this goal line dropout.
Xander Ward getting under that ball. The try scorer saving a try there.
Good kick.
That's Freeman under it. Now he's just going to take on some tacklers. Trust his speed. Dug out by Pearson. Hoving. Out to the number 8, Taele.
Big number Pearson. 8, Taele there. And we've got a penalty.
Just came in from the side. It was a little bit from the side. That's a tight call, I think, but when you have a player who maybe has an opportunity to steal that ball and they're cleared out, not quite straight, that would be the call there from the referee.
Yeah, referee Luciano there deciding that, hey, like you said, Alex, there's an opportunity here for a poach. If there wasn't so much defensive pressure over that ball, probably she lets that one go. But because there was so much defensive pressure, she's got to reward the team that is dominant in that position. And in that case, it was Utah. We've seen great control by the referees all weekend throughout these games, Alex, haven't we?
We have, and I think that they've worked very hard to keep the emotions at the right level. Hawes goes up, takes it for Utah. That one unable to get the handle is Saucedo, but it goes backwards. That lost forward. All of that, a little bit of lack of execution, then a rushed pass. And that'll be a good chance for Davenport now to see what they can do. Taele, would you take him off the back there and go to the right? He's big and powerful. Maybe not super fast.
He is big and powerful, and he is a grinder, right? We saw it on Friday. He's going to have this big blind side. Look at who he's up against here, though. It's the wing over here on this left side from the Utes. I believe that's Lloyd over there. If I'm not mistaken, I have to check a number on that. But I'm going to be honest, one-on-one situation, Taele versus a wing, I'm probably going to take Taele if I can.
Well, Pearson has it. He's looking to use it. He left that behind him, but he was able to just get it back again. Now the loop. There goes Benny. Benny off to Freeman. It comes off Freeman's chest. Another handling error by Davenport.
You know, and that's going to be the difference here as we get close to the 10 minutes left. We know we're into the second quarter of the half here. Is Davenport has made some small mistakes here. You see Freeman off the chest there. We saw a couple knock-ons back over here by the 15 Godley, and they need to make sure that they're tightening that up because these are opportunities that cannot go begging. We saw Utah's heart in that game on Friday against Santa Clara. They're not going to back down. They're going to play for 80 minutes.
That's right. Well, you talked about those universal movements. There was the Dominic Bailey, the coach for Davenport, with the pacer as he just dropped his head and walked away after that knock on. He knew that was an important move. It was all working.
Oh, that was a try. No question.
Well, a difficult ball for McElreath to get. Pinned up against their line are the Utes. Davenport looking maybe to get that turnover. That blocked kick, that's how they scored their first try. Ward over. And Benny went over there and again said that they didn't do it right. They didn't roll away first.
Yeah, this time it's Ward there who was in a good position, but because his Panther teammates were not rolling away, he's not rewarded for his efforts. Instead, it's a penalty against the players that were on the ground there. Didn't get a number, but referee Luciana here discussing with the Panthers about these infringements.
It really is a simple case of what does the referee want to see? They say a picture, whether it's a picture or whatever you want to call it. What does the referee want to see in that breakdown, and then go with that. Big tackle from Kamani on Saucedo.
He's been all over the field so far, has Kamani.
Slow going for Utah. Hawes just picks up and goes. Reset. Saucedo now digging it out. McElreath there wants it to kick. Oh, that was almost charged down. He does very well, in fact. Almost takes out our camera.
Our cameraman, though, light as a feather, quick as a cat, moving away from that one.
That was some fancy footwork.
Those are athletes over there behind the camera, folks. And this, you saw it there, though, kick between two towering trees there. Kambani, one of the players there, charging through that line out, and that was really well done there to get that ball away. And the wind was literally howling up here. Ball does get away, though.
We have a little bit of a timeout. We have an issue for one of the players.
Looks like a contact.
Yeah, I think he's replacing contact lenses, like he lost one, and he's putting one in. And I have to tell you, that happened to me on Saturday morning. I lost one in contact. I had my backups therein.
You were ready to go there.
Ready,
It's
yes,
Leatherman
got to
there.
be.
The question is, though, Alex, were you coming off the sideline of a Challenger Cup championship to put that daily back in where you may have had a weekly in?
No, I was in the bathroom of the Omni
There we
Hotel.
go. There we go. There we go.
But
Still.
I dropped my contact lens, and it slid down the plug.
Oh,
and
no.
Then I had the backup.
As long as you have that backup, you're always ready for
Ooh.
anything. As we see this one come here back through the Panthers, back into the action.
That pass sailed, and that just changed everything. Albrecht coming in to try and rescue that, and he was all alone. Penalty against Davenport for not releasing the ball.
Let's see if this one's going to make it to touch.
I don't think it will. Oh,
Indeed it
just
does.
did.
What a kick there. So we were talking about right there the wind. We always talk about the wind as such an advantage for the team with the wind, but when you're making long passes, it doesn't really matter which way the wind's going. It's
Right.
still windy.
Yes, it's going to make it sail. It's going to knock it down. And we saw the earlier games, shorter passes, tighter passes,
Yep.
lots of passes.
Yep.
Those all work fine, but the big, wide ones, much more unpredictable.
In this wind, you've got to earn your right through contact around that C and D channel to go wide.
Clement takes it down. The maul again. Davenport not really ready for that one, but we saw Utah drive one a good 20 meters on Friday. They're still going.
Joining here are the rest of the youths. They recycle so quickly in that maul. Huge effort and commitment here from Utah as they are driving this one forward. Well defended so far by the Panthers.
Now it's devolved into just two players with Palmberg going down. McElreath out to Ward. Tackle. We're going to go back to the penalty.
Big shot there by Joe Benny coming from the inside there, really stopping that one. He gets up a little bit, holding that arm. It looks like maybe the left shoulder where he put that big shot in. Let's see. He's a big physical defender. Let's see if he recovers from that or if that affects his game as we go forward.
Little bit of a warning from referee Luciano and asking Temuka Kambani just to tell his player, hey, you've got to be careful in the scoring zone, especially on things like collapsing mauls or pulling players down in lineouts, these professional fouls, they call them, or cynical fouls. You start to do that, that's when we've seen the cards come out.
And we have seen the cards come out this weekend. The referees have been determined to control the game. They've done an excellent job. And you notice that she was talking to Kambani a little bit earlier on the other side of the field for a couple penalties in Davenport's own end. So as we see these mounts, you're not going to get an infinite number of warnings.
Right. Kick to touch, another line-out option. And the thing about Utah, they've set up that maul. They have two players who they can put up in the air.
They do. They've got a very diverse set in their line-out. A lot of height here. They get up very quickly. Let's see how Davenport defends.
Brooks Clements, the fourth, has been their go-to guy, but that one is lost bounces and beautifully taken by Taele. Just controlled it with his hand. He's still on his feet. Davenport, a bit of a let-off for them.
And Taele there with arms as big as some of these players.
There's a sidestep. Oh, and unfortunate, running out through there, Alex Korf, and he seems to have injured something, and that is kind of a universal grab for the hamstring, have to say that, and that's very unfortunate. Gets up, he's unable to continue at the moment. That is bad news it's bad news for anyone at the same time as the penalty comes in for not rolling against Utah.
Yeah,
They lost two front rowers, and they brought their bench front rowers in to start this game. So when Korf comes in, the sophomore from Grand Rapids,
it looks like we'd probably have either Loyola or Armstrong,
yes,
one of the two here. Korf looks like he's going to try to continue, but
yeah.
I have to say, you saw him go down there. That looked like it was something beyond just a minor pull that you could just kind of work through, but he is trying to get back in there.
Was it a cramp? Was it a glute cramp? Does happen. It happens. The kick to touch.
Yeah, and
just
you see
enough.
him here, Korf, just the universal signal that he's done. That's unfortunate for the young man.
Tried it.
Helped earn the team to get here. Gets the starting nod today with some changes in the forward pack.
Giovanni Loyola, who's a first-year player out of the West Ottawa program in Michigan. a supply chain management major.
An important major.
That sounds very useful.
It is very useful, yes, especially right now
Yes.
with everything going on.
That's right.
We'll stay out of those topics, of course.
Well, but you know, hey, supply chain, we've seen it. We see those issues through COVID, things like that.
course.
Very important. So there, Kambani goes it, drops it down to Pearson. Long, good pass from Hoving, and he doinks it ahead. That's going to work. Benny, oh, he was going to get it, and that was taken instead by Ward. Very well done. Gidlana, and he puts a high ball ahead. Going to chase that one down.
Well tackled there by the 15, chasing that kick, and this one squirts out on the side of Davenport, but looks like illegally.
And the hooker who went into Carson Pomberg was the one who rescued that kick for Utah.
You know, we're seeing here at Davenport, you see Kambani having some conversations with his guys, especially the forwards. They've been on the wrong side of the referee's whistle on the ground several times.
Yes.
They've been pretty good around the field otherwise, right? Staying on side, working there, but on the ground, they've really been on the wrong side there.
And that was unfortunate there. Hoving kept it from going into touch.
Look at this physical dominance from Davenport here.
And that's going to be held up, and that's going to end up going back to the forward pass, the knock forward. Very smart, though, from the players from Davenport not to touch that ball. They were in an offside position. They had to let the charging Utah player come pick it up and then make that tackle afterward.
Well, because a scrum is better than a penalty here, right? I mean, it's so tempting to jump on that ball. You know, your instinct says grab it, you know. As we have one of the biggest chopper rims I've ever seen in my life on a motorcycle here.
Big one.
That's a 72 over there. Come behind us. We get back to the action here with the scrum.
We'll get you a picture of that one. And they're coming off the back. Wormer's tied up a little bit. Saucedo sends it out to Ward. Ward ducks his head down. He's held up, not going down, trying to get his knee on the ground. Finally he does. Charge through. A little bit of craziness in these breakdowns. Hawes, the captain, out to McElreath. Blitzing defender coming to try to take him down. Forces him to sidestep and not really do anything. Trying to get that out again, get some go forward. Utah, 5 or 6 phases and no gain. In fact, they've lost about 5 to 10 meters.
Well, you see there with Davenport's defense, when you've got your number 9, James Pearson, flying out trying to make big hits. Davenport is eager for defense here. They want the contact.
O'Day takes down Hawes. Now the kick ahead. Stab nicely taken this time by Pearson.
Yeah, great work by the number 9 there, trailing behind, looking for those kicks.
O'Day picks up and goes. He's all alone. Who's going to help him? It's going to be his second row mate, Kambani. And Snedanko, who's always just seems to be
everywhere.
Active. He really is. Gidlana tries to go himself. Loose ball coming out of it. Pearson dives on it. This will be a penalty against Utah. No tackle or release.
Yeah, you saw there the Utes were dragging Ivana forward there in the tackle. They just didn't get their hands off quickly enough. And referee Luciano awarding the Panthers again with another penalty.
Well, caught red-handed was Kingston Nugent because they called it, and he had to get up by letting go of the tackled player and get up. He was right there. He never really let go.
There's a few times where you might know you're guilty, and that was definitely one of them. No release in the contact.
He hung his head in shame. 4.5 minutes or so left in this first half. Davenport, with the win, has not been able to convert on most of their scoring chances. In fact, their lone try was off a blocked kick, so they haven't really been able to construct anything. This is an important moment for them. They get that line out. They set that maul. It goes down. Referee says they pulled it down. We'll have a chat because there was a chat about it earlier, and referee Luciano is going to her pocket, and right away, that's a yellow card against Utah. That's going to be an important one.
Luciano there must have seen something because it didn't seem like Utah, as Davenport doesn't make it to the corner here.
Another mistake by the Panthers. Yep, and that is an error. But they'll pressure defensively. They'll be happy to do that.
As we try to get the number on this yellow card over here for you, if you're watching at home, we've got a big driving run here coming through for Utah. That looks like that was number 8, Ian Wormer there, Alex, trying to find some space here, at least to survive and get this kick away from some reasonable territory.
We have a player down for Davenport. While we work on that, Utah looking to set up that kick. Wind has died down a little bit, and we're going to stop and attend to the injured player.
So yeah, we have this injury down here as we step away to try to get the number on the yellow card, as well as a number on the player down on the field here. Looked like he was in some distress. Looks to be one of the either second row or back row here for Davenport. It looks like we might maybe have O'Day down on the ground as we look for this. Hopefully the young man is okay. He was moving around on the ground there. Looks like he is in major distress. Looks like maybe a shoulder or neck area injury, but we do see him moving around on the ground there, talking to his training staff.
Well, they went out there very quickly, and they just and stopping play, I think, is the right thing to do. When we resume play, we will start with a scrum. That's important for Utah because on the naughty stool is Zane McFarland, their loose head prop. So they will have to bring someone, probably have to bring someone on as a front row, unless they have someone on the field already who is front row capable, say from their back row. That it does happen, but it's relatively rare, so they're going to have to sub someone on for that scrum.
And you know, we try not to judge a book by its cover here, Alex, as it is actually number 6 there, Cruz Bannister. You don't want to judge a book by its cover, but when I saw the body style of the player coming off for the naughty list, I assumed front row.
Yes, but you never know. You never know. It could just be a
big wing.
Yeah, right.
It'd just be a big wing.
Really elusive. But instead, we do bring on Mac Mulford. Will come on as a temporary front row substitution. They have to take someone off. Utah's still shorthanded at 14.
And Mulford, Alex, the first-year pre-med student out of Eugene, Oregon. A lot of bright players across the field. You look at some of these majors, you've got supply chain management across the board, finance, pre-med. You look at these guys, mechanical engineering. These are young men, civil engineering, that are going to be really adding in to the world as they come out of their time here at their respective universities.
Gotta love those practical majors.
Underwater basket weaving.
Right, well, there is that.
That was my minor, though.
That's right.
So,
That's
yeah.
your minor.
As we get set here for this scrum, Alex, Utah still with the ball here after all is said and done from injuries and yellow cards.
Big drive from Davenport, and they will get the penalty.
Huge drive there from the front row in the tight 5. You see Kambani screaming at his players. Elation across the board for the tight 5 there from Davenport. Massive scrum.
Now, one might say this is an opportunity to just kick for points. However, I think Davenport really wants to go into halftime at least tied. We've got 2 minutes to go. They did miss touch on that other kick, and now they have it at 5 meters. There's already been a yellow card on a maul collapse, and shorthanded in the pack is Utah, although it doesn't matter when you match numbers in the lineout. They've got that lineout. They set up that maul off a pass play in the air. Utah read that quite well and have stopped it. Pearson on his own, flat pass, Benny over, try, Davenport. And they have accomplished what they were knocking on the door for so long. And a rather frustrated, perhaps, Joe Benny gets to get that try, and it is 12-10, kick to come, 1 minute or so left in this first half.
And the Utes weren't opening the door for the police, so Davenport brought in the SWAT team as Benny barrels over the line there, just hammers his way through the front door. You saw there, what a tricky little line-out play. That's hard to operate when you're in the air like that. Ball back to the front. It doesn't go forward. They set the drive. Utah, as you mentioned, Alex, did a great job stopping that initial drive, but then Benny, hard at the line, just charges over the top of that one. Great play there for the number 13. As you said, maybe venting a little frustration there at his 2 earlier penalties.
Well, if that doesn't work, if that play doesn't work, that means you've got all the forwards tied up in there, so there must be a gap somewhere. The kick is up, and it is good. Well taken by Hoving.
What a kick there by Hoving. I mean, I know usually you'd say right around the 15-meter, pretty straightforward kick for these talented guys, but with this wind, he kept that thing low and just scraped it over top of the post there. Well done.
Didn't make himself at the mercy of the wind.
That's right.
And 12-12, just enough time for the restart. Utah now, still I think going against the wind will be fairly happy with a tie.
Yep.
That one high, very high, Hoving under it. He's going to kick downfield, kick to touch, great kick, great touch finder, and I think that will end our half. Yes, it will. And we have all to play for after all of these games. 4 games on Friday, 2 games on Saturday, 3 more today, so we've got 8.5 games. We're, of course, tied.
Of course, we're tied here with everything to play for. The wind will be at Utah's back here in the second half. We saw how that affected the last game between Western Washington and Iowa State, how Western Washington was able to take advantage of that wind. Let's see if Utah can do the same.
The wind is swirling around, though. It is a little bit unpredictable, but I think overall what we've seen today is kick to that sideline over here and don't kick against the wind when you're kicking to touch. We're going to take a little break. We will be back for the second half here in this D1A Challenger Final. And we are back for the second half of this D1A Challenger Final. I'm Alex Goff. I'm joined by former Eagle Phil Teal, who has seen a number of these teams with the work he does as the voice of Life University Rugby. Would that be fair to say, voice of University?
That's what they say. That's what they say.
I think you do a fantastic job. And here, Davenport trying to work their way out of their 22. It is 12-12. Utah putting the pressure on and playing with the wind this time. So that will be a difference maker. And we were talking, Phil, about so many of the players at Davenport coming from these programs, especially in Michigan, and a number of players from Michigan. And you look at the lineup for Utah, players from all over, but they are rugby players. You talk about the difference in size. These guys are rugby players. Olympus, San Diego, the Tribal, Brighton, Pac Misfits, Granite Bay, Riverton, Monarch in Colorado. These are all real solid to very good to excellent programs, high school rugby programs. These are kids who show up knowing how to play rugby, played 2, 3, 4, 6, 8 years.
And you see it here as we have the penalty here. Referee Luciano calls. We used to talk about all the time, I mean, I'm giving my age here a little bit as this is a great kick to the corner here. Looks like it's going to be just over a 5-meter lineup. We always talked about when I was younger, you knew that rugby came from the West Coast.
Yes.
There was great rugby out east, don't get me wrong, but we knew the younger players were getting more time. Rugby was a West Coast sport.
Yes.
And you see that here, these guys out of Oregon, Utah, California, Washington, they've played and they have a great rugby pedigree coming through their high school years.
Excellent touch finder, as you said, Phil, and they're going to go with Clement again and set up that maul again. Davenport gets some bodies behind it, tries to disrupt it, but still the legs are moving for the Utes. And turned around. And this is a turnover. They turned that around, and we got an obstruction call. I think it was an obstruction call.
I believe it was obstruction. It looked like here, referee Luciano saying that that was actually taken into the maul. She doesn't indicate it obstruction. She indicates maybe that was tied up, held up there. Not exactly sure the call, but it's not obstruction here, Alex, which is what I thought it was too.
Yeah.
But it's going to be a scrum down here for Davenport. That ball may have just gotten trapped in there, not moving forward and not coming out at the same time.
A lot of enthusiasm from the forwards, especially the captain, Kambani, for that stop for the Panthers. Pearson now picks it up. Benny makes a move, just pulls his way out of that tackle. Almost broke that clean. Hoving now plays scrum half. Taele tips it off.
It's a good carry there by the reserve coming on Loyola. As you mentioned, tip off from Taele.
And there's Albrecht connecting with Umgadlana and Freeman, and he goes down the sideline, but he is pushed into touch. Still, that's the way to get out of it. If you're going up against the wind, you run, and they're around midfield.
And running like the wind was Davenport there on the wing. That was great work to move that ball side to side, using the hands here as the wind picks up again. We've talked about it all day today. Hasn't affected the games as much through the Friday and Saturday, but today, I'm not sure if you can hear that at home. We are out here in the elements. Alex and I are roughing it. We might as well be just in the middle of the desert at this point with this wind. Somebody get us a Perrier here.
That's right.
But we've got Utah here with the line out.
It has picked up, and yet those throws are on point. Clement now, a nice take again. Tackle by Taele. Out to Hawes. Hawes gets out of one tackle, gets out of another tackle. Has the support. Goes into the flanker, Nugent. Nugent offloading toward the try scorer. Once again with Nugent. All alone, Freeman has him.
And you saw there, Nugent was pointing to go the other way, but he ended up with the ball, did well.
Saucedo passes that straight to Cade Clark, the tight head. Very, very slow ball coming out. Palmberg, the hooker, had a very good game. That one, well, just tackled as he was passing it. And that's a turnover. Turnover good. Referee says play on. Just a clean poach, and then diving on the ball and a lot of enthusiasm again. They know it is tight. That was Sam Goethals with the poach.
And you saw there Clemens had been brought, we'll edit this for the crowd at home, bum over tea kettle there as he was dragged around, but the Davenport players dragging the ball carrier versus the ball, and in that case, diving over went the Utes trying to clear that out.
Ball kicked into the street. We have two of them into the street at the moment. One's lying right on the double yellow line. And we do have a sub coming on. Utah bringing on big Marin Grover, the pre-law major out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. Another player with a ton of height. That one, a loose ball, but not contested, so not straight. And Pearson, wow, Pearson getting a couple of stiff arms going, getting out of some tackles. Hoving, connecting now, Benny out to Umgidlana. And the fullback cuts back inside. He's a little bit isolated, but Utah can't hold their feet. O'Day.
Davenport really picking up the pace of the breakdown here. They were a little sluggish in the first half. They've recognized that as a key, and they're moving this ball much more quickly is Pearson.
Interception, Palmberg. This man is everywhere.
And Palmberg there taking down Kambani as well as others flying around him there, making that tackle. Palmberg grabbed that one. Great play defensively to slice through and snag that out of the air for the intercept by the hooker.
And back come the Utes.
Utah just pesky in defense, pesky in attack. They fly around. They're all over the place. Their players 1 through 15, doesn't matter what numbers on their back. They're all putting in the work around the breakdown. Now they've got ball in hand here, attacking down this left side, Alex.
Isaac Dameyer going down the sideline. Now just a pick and go, just straight ahead.
That was Bressenden there trying to get that momentum back on the side of the Utes.
Clark slightly alone, but they come back to help him out. McElreath just dinks it forward, but the wind kind of took that one to the sideline. It really is swirling, sometimes going down the side, down to the right as you look on the screen, sometimes coming toward the camera.
It is moving, and I've hit my allotment of golf jokes about myself there when a kick is sliced. That one just off the side of the boot there and into touch, only about a meter gain on that kick. You know, Utah would like to use the wind a little bit more than that. I know it is swirling around, and it is coming towards the sideline, but that one definitely a bit of a mishit there from the Utes and straight into touch across the sideline. So it's going to be this Davenport line out here in a pretty good position defensively.
Questions to answer now with regard to the bench. Davenport with a shortened bench, what with the graduations coming up. They will have to rely on their starters for a good portion of it. They have brought on a couple of players, including Damian Ramirez coming on. But that throw was not straight. The wind took it, but Utah contested. Palmberg with the throw. Send it to the back, rescued. Hawes passes it, rolls around. Wormer picks it up, fends off one, down by another. Saucedo looking for some help, sends it to the new man, Grover. Grover picked up and summarily dumped on his face. McElreath again trying to hit someone, coming in hard this time. Xander Ward. Cut back by Seidel.
More big contact from the Davenport defenders here, Alex. Huge tackle coming in.
Well, they've lost about 10 meters now, have Utah. And another crunching double tackle. Grover's thinking, you know, what did I do wrong? He's just trying to catch the ball.
Rover sent Grover right over. Backwards there, Tyeli in that huge contact. It was Benny before that put the big hit on. These Davenport players trying to assert themselves physically here.
Palmberg was a good run. McElreath with the kick. The half charge down. It hit the feet of O'Day rolled around, knocked forward by Utah, and that swarming Davenport defense, that may be the key for them because they just pushed the Utes backwards.
You know, they've picked up the energy here in attack and defense. They were playing the first half strong, but at the same time, it wasn't as fast as it is right now. Davenport has upped their intensity level. Swarming is the word you used, Alex, and they are swarming the Utes right now, are the Panthers. Hunting in packs, as it were. You saw Benny with the big shot, Tayeli as well, just trying to assert that physicality and pick up the game tempo as well.
Davenport backs aligned fairly close to each other. They've got Freeman there off his wing and underneath, and that's who they're looking for. Freeman sending it wide. It ends up rolling behind Albrecht, and that was an execution mistake.
You know,
over eagerness, maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, we've seen that a couple times with Davenport so far. Just failure to execute through that 12-13 fullback insert to the 15. That's an important area of the field because that's where you develop your width off that first phase. Right now, just a little clunky in those interchanges, and so Davenport giving away opportunities that they've earned on defense.
Well, Damian Freeman, he's also a strike runner for them. I think maybe they wanted him to just go. Loose ball at the back of that line out. Gathered by Davenport. Panthers have it. Pearson pulls it out. What? Were they offside? Were the Utes offside? They're still playing with it. Benny kicks it ahead. Umgidlana chasing it. Albrecht chasing it. And it is fielded, but not cleanly by Dameyer, who fumbles it back into touch. And that is a complete win for Davenport. They get the line out as well as the territory.
And I said it earlier in the weekend, but I had the good fortune to speak with U20's head coach, Nitin Garicki, for the USA, and he talked about contestable kicks and how they are an indicator, not only recovery, but just kicking them. They're an indicator of games won. And here, Davenport, great contestable kick. We see the error.
Here we go, down the sideline. Will that be a try? Yes! They went short. Jack Snedanko bumped it into Xavier Leatherman. I think that may have been actually Ramirez, Damian Ramirez, and he popped it right back to the hooker, and down he went. Utah, a little bit of sleep on that one, and Jack Snedanko out of Grandville goes in at the corner. And as you said, the contestable kick, it's there, it's a question. What's going to happen here? And then that ends up being a scoring opportunity for Davenport.
In this last time, it was Isaac Dameyer that wasn't able to corral that one. And here, Davenport gets the opportunity with the line out, and they take advantage of it. They say, hey, it's tied. Well, let's throw this trick play that we've been working on. Maybe they worked on it this week. Maybe they've been working on it throughout the season. Let's toss it in and see what happens. And it's Snedanko that goes over as the result.
Have a look at that kick. That was, it ended up going under the bar. But in terms of managing the wind and getting that on target, that was pretty impressive from Hoving.
That was a good kick there from Hoving. Unfortunately, like you mentioned, Alex, that wind just petrifying the ball midair.
Well, I got to tell you, I think kickers go too far back. I think they need to trust their accuracy a little bit and go forward and shorten those kicks. That's my opinion on that.
In my clearly expert opinion on that, Alex,
yes,
is that I have no clue. But I agree with you. Sometimes they want to reduce that angle, right? But in a game like this, you've got to trust your accuracy.
Deep kick, well fielded. Kick to touch. Well, somebody was nice enough to stop their truck, pick up the ball, and toss it back onto the field, and they've just kicked it back into the street. So you try to do a good thing in this world. No good deed goes unpunished.
That's right.
Utah, though, still all kinds of opportunities here. We are 14 minutes into this second half. Hawes takes that. The maul, once again, formed quickly. Davenport struggling to get behind that and slow it down.
Good maul here from the Utes. They've got some go forward. Their backs are flat here. Davenport now at the bare minimum having to pour defensive players in, but it is taken out there by the Utes.
Wormer with the pop off the back, and he was tackled, and you pointed it out, Phil. James Pearson, the scrum half, is making some tackles.
Some big hits. I mean, you look at him, he's an absolute unit there in the number 9 jersey. Looks like if you added about 3 inches to his frame, he'd be a flanker.
Yes.
And he's been putting in some monster tackles here.
Well, he's a nursing major, and young men who are nursing majors are usually very strong. Because you have to be lifting things.
You have to be lifting things, and
people.
Utah going to be nursing some wounds here from the shots by Pearson. But with all that said, it was a penalty there for Utah, Alex, and another line-out opportunity here 5 meters out from the line.
Given what the Maul has been able to do, just get that go forward. 5 meters shouldn't be a problem. Hawes up the drive. Now they go around Palmberg. Palmberg stopped. Didn't quite take it up, just went a little sideways. The forwards consolidate. Utes going forward again. Hawes, the captain.
Looks like
Not
advantage
close.
here. Arm out for the Utes. I believe I saw the referee's arm out. Yes, indeed. Advantage here for Utah.
So Utah just can take their time. Be patient. They will get another chance at it. Another pick and go. Over the line, driven back. One more pick. Just a little bit random, however. Not getting support there, not getting a latcher.
You've got to have that latcher from the outside to drive the shoulder back in.
That one might have been guilty of a double movement, but there to the line. And we will have a check.
No, I know they earned that penalty there, and it looks like they're going to earn a card here. Is Utah on the Davenport defender. With all that said, though, Alex, as we get the number of the player here from Davenport coming off the field, I'm not a huge fan that Utah went to a move there with Palmberg around the corner. He's not the biggest hooker in the world who's going to power his way over top of back row defenders. And you can see there, Alex, it's
Patrick O'Day, in fact, the second row forward out of Rochester, Michigan.
And O'Day, a huge, huge worker today so far, part of that combination with Kambani. They've been excellent. All I was going to say there is Palmberg's not the biggest hooker to come around and barrel his way over the top. He's not Joe Taufetti in there who's going to score a try guaranteed from 5 meters. I would have liked to see Utah keep that in the maul and truck it up. They've been so good at it throughout the game.
I would agree with that. And, you know, if he's going to run, he's got to go up vertical as much as possible. Stay low, but he's not a big body, as you said. But we're still going. Opting for the scrum was Utah, and they just picking up, and again, just pick and go, pick and go. Davenport has been defending well. Another surge. Now they'll go wider. McElreath looking to find Ward. Hawes. No, Hawes now, in fact, to the line. Now they come back the other way. Another excellent tackle from the Panthers. Utah inching closer. And that ball has been stolen. Kambani sends it to Taele. And they're running it out. Freeman now. Freeman might have some space. Freeman might have some gas. Kicks it ahead. Regathers. Can you believe it?
What
Just
a play.
bouncing.
Damian Freeman.
And out of that, a big missed opportunity for Utah. Benny now has it. Davenport still playing with it. Umgidlana now. Tackled, not held, gets back up. And they are actually going to say he was held in the tackle.
Tight call there by the referee. What a play.
It is a high risk, medium reward thing to get back up, unless you are absolutely sure. Maybe just stay down. But everything got turned around. That poach from Kambani, and then he just took off downfield and started a run.
And here they go again, is Davenport playing back that kick, not making it to touch there, Alex.
Gothel's now with it. A little sidestep, almost sidestepped himself down onto the ground. Pearson digs it out. Going wide, Hoving.
Oh, good ball.
Umgidlana, the fullback. Now he's got the pace, Now he's got the gas and flying in for a huge try for Davenport. And from defending their line to getting all the way down, they turn everything around. And the fullback, Dango Ngidlana, the sophomore from Johannesburg, went to Gray's College, a wonderful rugby school in South Africa, and you can see he's got those skills.
Of course, Gray's College versus Stellenbosch, to a big rivalry there in South Africa. I'm not going to say I told you so on the mall, Alex, but every now and then an announcer is right. It does happen. It's not very often, but I get one right every now and then. Would have loved to see Utah keep that thing in tight. Instead, they take their chance out there against a powerful Davenport defense that was organized, bigger, stronger, near the line. Freeman comes away with that from Tyele, who did a wonderful job getting the ball. He put the gas down, kicks it back into himself. They work their way back around, almost score right there. Yes. Then penalty, of course, for double movement or getting up, not releasing. Utah makes the mistake, doesn't go to touch, and then Davenport just flying back downfield, back and forth across the field. And at the end, it's Ngidlana there over the line. You know, I will say one thing. You don't like to criticize when a player scores a try. He had the opportunity to take a step off that right foot and try to get that thing a little bit closer to the post.
He did, yes.
I know he was excited with the big swan dive, don't get me wrong. But he could have given his team a little bit of an easier opportunity for a kick there.
He gets about a 7.2 on the dive, but had he just cut back in and touched it down, I would have given him an 8.4.
I give it a 10 if he does that.
Yes,
but yeah, great dive, though. He did.
But
he had the shark tail up before he got in there as we get back into this one.
Well, you see what happens when Ngidlana finally got the ball in front of him, bursting onto it, and in space. Hoving. Now Davenport is taking some risks. Look at that offload. Gotta love that. Straight out to Leatherman in support. Now we go wide.
And Davenport now getting a little bit more adventurous as we get into the final quarter of this one. Some no-look passes. Hovat doing a great job with flat passes right now as well.
Tyele fends off one, stays low, bumps off another. Well, he's having fun now. A good offload there out to Loyola.
Loyola not quite as great of an offload there out to Hovat. He had to regather that one, go into contact.
Pearson now. Nice little line drive box kick rolling around, causing some problems. What can Utah do with that? Drive it into the corner. Ngidlana has got some work to do. Tackled. And that's a turnover. Wormer offload. Back inside to Lloyd. Lloyd, try. And what a tackle by Dameyer to force that rather speculative pass from Ngidlana. And then Wormer nabbed it and inside to Hugh Lloyd. And Hugh Lloyd gets the try.
And from hero to, I don't want to say villain.
Anti-hero?
Anti-hero on that one. Ngidlana, you can see there, he's upset. From hero on that try, he did so well to score that last try. Slicing through, as you mentioned, he finally got some space. This time, getting tackled nearly into touch, tosses that ball up there, and just as you mentioned, Wormer got a hold of it, passed it back into Lloyd, and Utah right back in this one. Ngidlana, great player. He's going to get past that one. He's very, very solid so far today after a couple shaky kick collections earlier in the game. He's been excellent throughout the day. That one is going to cost Davenport, though, because it brings Utah right back into this game.
And I believe that was Wormer, the number 8, who kicks that ball. And there again, that experience, that rugby experience. He's a senior. He played for the Pack Misfits in Colorado. He's been playing for a while. And that was a nice piece of skill and vision. That kick, well, the wind was not going to be kind to him.
And you see Lloyd there just kind of smiles. I mean, what are you going to do there? That one comes off the side of the boot. He's trying to drive it through the wind, just overcooks it a bit. I think the tee went almost as far as the ball on that one. And you saw him there. He just kind of gave a wry smile and said, hey, I'm coming back. I just scored a try, guys. Give me a break here.
It's 22-17, and now back to being a one-score game.
What a good game so far, Alex.
Love it. Love it. We've had so many dramatic games here, so many momentum shifts this weekend. And there, Wormer again, outstanding play.
What a clear out coming in there. That was from Kingston Nugent.
And that ball has been, that was stolen. I was going to say that seemed like maybe a little bit shade illegally. Yes, it was. Didn't release a tackle player. You can't tackle the guy to the ground and as you're falling, just sort of roll onto the ball and take it away from him. You have to get back on your feet. Now the kick to touch makes it into touch, and that's about all they can do there.
That's all you can really hope for with this wind,
You,
Alex,
Lloyd.
driving across the field. But as it stands, though, Palmberg here on the sideline, ready for this line out. Utah, everything to play for in this one. 5 points down inside of 15 minutes.
Palmberg with the throw. Lineout's been functioning quite well for Utah. Hawes, the skipper. Of course, commentator Curse. And that one picked up by Snedanko. Really good game from him. Both hookers, in fact, playing well. Hoving kicking it ahead. It's a difficult one. A swirly wind. Lloyd trying to do something with it. Kicks downfield. Hoving again. Thinking about kicking, trying to go with someone. Yep, just grubbers it through. And that one just landed right in the breadbasket of Zane McFarland. But he wasn't able to hold it. And then they're going to call that offside. Didn't retreat when they kicked it.
Want to say real quick, the number 16 for Davenport, Damian Ramirez, came on with the nice slick back look there. The sophomore out of Fallbrook, California, legal studies major. He's going to look good in a courtroom with that hair, Alex.
Yeah,
he's got.
That's true. That is very much the legal hair.
That is a tight look there. Future lawyer, we can tell.
Put on a nice suit, right? Come in, good cuffs, right? Cufflinks, maybe.
Got to have some nice
Colorful
cufflinks.
tie.
So, but hey,
Yeah.
he might know a guy with that haircut, you know. But anyway,
Right.
Ramirez coming on here. Of course, we saw Snedenko have an excellent game. Well earned here. But actually, I think that I see Snedenko there on the other side. So have to get the number that Ramirez came on for. We'll figure that out here shortly.
I think that might have been on for Corf. And remember, we still have the sin bin going for Davenport. That kick against the wind, just under the bar, and it's going to roll dead, so it's going to be a 22 dropout.
And as you mentioned, the sin bin, I had nearly forgotten about O'Day there in the sin bin.
I had completely forgotten about the poor man. Patrick O'Day comes back on.
You know, what a testament to Davenport how they played a man down, though, during that time frame. O'Day, a huge piece of the engine here for Davenport, off the field for 10 minutes. Now Davenport back to full strength, up by 5.
Hoving under it, does well. Looking for Taele. Taele fakes a pass and goes straight through. Pearson digs it out. Now Benny for Mgidlana, and he's chasing it, and he toes it ahead. That's the way to do it. Saucedo does so well to rescue that, but he is hit with interest. Turned around looking to do something, and there was somebody waiting right for him.
Get the number of that Mack truck that just hit
really
Saucedo there.
Stopped him dead in his tracks. Utah now pinned up against their line. Options. The
Charge
kick.
down.
Charge down. Try. The second charge down try for Davenport. And this one was charged down, and you had someone coming up behind. I think that was
Leatherman.
Leatherman.
I believe it was Xavier Leatherman.
Coming in after. And an opportunistic try. And we can see it here. There's the charge down. And diving onto it, Xavier Leatherman.
First-year player here.
Out of Oceanside, California, went to the Army and Navy Academy in California.
Looks like an Army crawl there on top of that one,
that's
Alex.
right.
Well done. Johnny on the spot is Leatherman after the charge down, and you could feel that brewing a little bit. Davenport's had a lot of pressure on Utah here over the last couple minutes, and now a little bit of breathing here for the Panthers. However, with this missed kick,
they were a bit slow with the tee. You have to kick that. And when everyone gets excited and everyone's distracted, and you're putting on reserves, and one of the reserves had been responsible for the kicking tee, you might forget the kicking tee.
Yeah, and
so
get out
they
there
have to drop kick it.
and with that wind, I want to give a quick credit to Imagala there from that kick. He towed that on and really helped create that momentum. He could have dove for that ball. He could have let it go. That could have been a really great opportunity for Utah to snag that up and get running back downfield themselves. He sticks the toe out, kicks that down. Well done there by the 15 to help create that momentum.
Snadanko still running. That ball ripped out of his hands, however, and picked up by Dameyer. Dameyer goes straight up. And Utah needs players to go straight up. Clark. Slow going for the Utah Utes. That ball left through, but that's going to be a penalty against Davenport.
Indeed it is here. Utah with another great opportunity. Only down by 10 right now, just under 10 minutes to go. 2 scores in it. Whether that's 2 unconverted tries or a converted try and a penalty to get back to level for the Utes. Not out of this one yet. 10 exciting minutes here. Well, 9 minutes and 20 seconds of exciting rugby action here in the CRAA D1A Challenge Final. And what a final it's been. What a weekend it's been, Alex.
It really has. We've seen North Florida come back after losing the final D2 final last year, coming back and winning that. We've seen Cal winning their second in a row in a dramatic game against Navy. Here comes the maul from Utah. Still the drive. The drive goes on. Davenport pushing from the side. They have to be careful.
No advantage arm out here from the referee. So this is play on here as Utah down near the line trying to breathe life back into their effort here. And continuing to charge on, go the Utes. Still trying to work their way over that line. The Davenport defense here, strong, stoic in defense here on their own line, stonewalling the Utah Utes at every turn here. Bashed backwards again are the Utes. Davenport not giving an inch here at the line. Ball does go wide here. Utah hammered again. There is Lloyd on the contact. And you see the Davenport players scrambling back up in a penalty here, Alex, for Davenport, holding on in the tackle from Utah. They were getting just pushed backwards at the line there, decided to go wide. They tried to get that ball out. Decision made there by Saucedo to move that ball, and they're just clattered in the tackle there just inside the 22, resulting Davenport penalty. Kick to touch here. Great kick against the wind by Davenport. Ball out just inside their own half here. That a critical juncture for Utah. Unfortunately, the train coming off the tracks there near the goal line, and it's a Davenport line out here, Alex, just inside their own half.
And Utah, they've had those chances. They have had that scoring position right down to the line, and they've lost it. That's crucial. Freeman now going down the sideline, getting that feed from Goethals. Freeman once again making ground. Hoving now picks it up with Pearson on the sideline now having been subbed off. It's Hoving back to his traditional position of scrum half. And Benny sends it out wide. Albrecht taking off and then just ankle tackled down. But all of this is going to work in Davenport's favor. Stolen by Utah, but stolen illegally, and it will go back to a penalty for Davenport.
Breathless stuff there. You saw Freeman well worked there. Some good moves, releasing the big winger there on the outside. Ball back in. O'Day there with a great run. Came across, as you mentioned, into the hands of Albrecht. and the ball was ripped away there. I think it was, I believe it was Ward there that got that ball out of the hands of Albrecht, but it was done illegally. As we see a Davenport player on the ground here.
We're going to a substitute coming on for Utah. Mac Mulford comes on, the pre-med major out of Eugene, Oregon, and he will come on for Zane McFarland, the prop out of Salt Lake City.
Looks like we've got another substitute here, Alex, number 19, Cervantes Scott Jr. on the field. Not sure who's coming on for just yet. Looks like we do have our player coming off here.
Well, that's just Goethals looking for some water.
And indeed, it is Scott Jr. coming on for the injured player.
There's the fireman carry. I think this is all hopefully in good fun. As we see like Mason Albrecht come and taken off. And yeah, just a leg injury, and they figured they would be quick about it and throw him on a shoulder and take him off. And a rough way to end as he injures his leg, Albrecht. And that kick to touch, held up by the wind. And again, we talked about how to handle that. Going up high just gives more time for the wind to play havoc with your plans. Drive it through.
And that was only a few meters there on that kick, and the wind just took it and pulled it right back in field. As we saw Albrecht come out, I was going to say the Davenport trainers even strong.
Taele takes it, doesn't really care for what he sees. Loyola instead fends off somebody. Now through Wynn. Wynn to Goethals. That would be Sam Goethals, the older brother.
What was in that water bottle that Goethals just took a sip of as he charges through?
And there's Loyola. Loyola gets that ball that sort of squirted through someone's hands. Once again, Benny still running, still charging, still asking questions of the Utah defense. Utes. It might have been now that too much of a mountain to climb. 100 meters to go and 2 scores needed. Davenport hoping to make it 3 scores needed.
Under
Win.
5 minutes here, Alex. Big charging runs here from these Davenport forwards. Solid defense, though, from Utah still, but every second, we've mentioned it throughout the weekend in these close games, every second counts here.
Kambani and tried to get that offload, in fact, to Scott Jr., and that ball came off his knee, went into in goal, and he fell on it. Is that a try?
It looks like that's a try here. Ball came off the foot or shin there, counts as a kick, even though it may have been dropped forward. You see there, Saucedo very upset, takes off the headgear, slams it on the ground.
It's a little bit, there's the offload there, and it did come off his foot, and he dove on it, and Saucedo felt that maybe he got his hand on it as well. And I can see there's a little bit of frustration there from the Utah player, and he thought maybe he had his hand on it. He thought maybe Scott had his hand on the ball, but that is kicked ahead, touchdown. And Graham Wynn out of Matuba, South Africa, went to Michael House School, another great rugby school in South Africa.
And potentially my favorite town name of all time right there.
And that kick is up and very nicely set up, but hit by that wind once again, 32-17. And this game, so tight, so close, but at the end, Davenport has pulled away.
And 15 points in this here, Alex. And I was just going to say on that kick there from Wynn, for all intents and purposes, that thing was going over the bar.
Yes.
And the wind just said, no thanks.
No,
Dikembe Mutombo, finger wag there,
right.
swats that thing back. But Davenport, after all said and done, are now 15 points up, Alex, have looked really good in this second half.
Well, you know, a great season from Utah. They are working their way back to the dizzying heights of when they were making national finals. And it's been a lot of work, a lot of different coaches. They've got a young coach there in Cameron DiLoretto doing a great job with them, bringing players, as we mentioned. These are all rugby players. They are recruiting players too, and their recruiting pitch is really, and you can see it. It's pre-med, it's the medical school, it's engineering.
Yep.
Come study here.
Yep.
And play rugby while you study here, and that's working for them, and they are building something, and this is just a step forward for them. Davenport, a more established school-backed team, remember, run by their athletic department. They can recruit in a different way, and what they did was both games here this weekend, they dealt with adversity, dealt with deficits, and put it aside and said, let's play second half rugby.
Excellent points, Alex, about those two schools as we see Benny down on the ground after a hard charging run and an offload to Freeman there as the ball goes back around. That's Loyola again, the reserve.
Sells the dummy. He's got Giglano with him. There's the fullback. One more pass. Kambani out to Clark. Scott Jr. Did Scott just score his second try?
He did, off the bench and scoring punches in bunches here is Scott Jr. A brace of tries in about 2 minutes.
Kentwood, Michigan. Savante Scott Jr. and there's big cheers on the sideline. Not really expected necessarily to go in and put up a brace, but that's exactly what he did.
And if you look at him, he's coming back, he's smacking his head, he's excited. He knows he probably just put this one away here with under 90 seconds left for Davenport. Quick shout out to Savantes Scott Jr., social work major. What an important field that we don't see enough people going into these days. Can't wait to see the young man scoring tries now and trying to help the youth of the future. What a great performance for him off the bench.
And he can say, let me tell you about when I scored 2 tries in a major collegiate rugby final. Nobody expected me to, but there I go on, and I just put the game away. The kick is up and blown away by the wind. 37, 7 tries.
Wow, what a last quarter by Davenport. Yes. Absolutely on fire. This is a lot of what some people expected earlier in the game, but Utah fighting hard, really kept themselves into this one. As we come here under 30 seconds, this one obviously is in the hands of Davenport. They're going to be your challenger champions here this weekend, but Utah, excellent performance.
Remember, they scored that brilliant try to make it 22-17. It was all to play for. There wasn't much time left in that game, and they had an opportunity, but just a couple of mistakes, a couple of things not going right for them. And we are at full time. That is it. Referee blows the whistle. University of Utah gave everything they could, but it is Davenport with the win, 37-17. The Panthers will take the 2026 D1A Challenger Trophy.
And what a performance by the Panthers as we see them celebrating on the field. Some tired bodies there as the Utah players come to shake hands. Last game of the weekend. What a great game. All to play for with about 15 minutes left. And Davenport put the paw on the gas and decided this game was over. And really, it was the play of Scott Jr. Of course, he had his players getting him the ball, but it was his effective running, powerful running off the bench, scoring those 2 tries that put this one to bed for the Panthers.
And we're going to have a moment here where Joey Rasmus is going to go down and talk with Coach Don Bailey and the captain, Tamuka Kambani. And if I'm not mistaken, our player of the game is James Pearson, the nursing major at scrum half. And you pointed out, Phil, it was as much his defensive contribution.
I didn't get a chance to say it because there was so much action going on, but when Utah was about to draw this game level and they decided to go wide, it was Pearson who put the huge hit on early in the game to shut that try down. Then they had the ball coming back. But
we are going to go down to the sideline now with Joey, who has captain and coach.
I am here on the field with the winners of the D1A Men's Challenger Cup, Tamuka Kambani, the captain, Don Bailey, the head coach. Tamuka, it was a tight, battled first half. You guys seemed to apply a lot of physical attrition in that half and trust that the points would come. You got the flood in the final quarter there. Was that all the game going to plan for you? Is that how you saw it drawing out, or did you have to make some changes at halftime?
It was a little bit different than the way we thought about it, but we just kind of regrouped at halftime, and we just thought that, well, if we keep knocking at it, if we keep going hard and physical at them, the gates would open eventually, and fortunately enough, they did towards the end of the second half.
2 games in 3 days, that's a massive physical challenge to take on. Was this challenging? Did you guys learn something to go forward and play at even a higher level going into next season?
Very much, very much. It really came down to our coaches. They had a really good recovery plan that helped us kind of get over those 2 games in 72 hours. But other than that, it was really something that we got to learn from, really understanding how our body's capable of and stuff like that, yeah.
Awesome. Dom, you must be very, very happy, very proud. What does this win mean for your program?
That's huge for us right now, honestly. The biggest thing, it's momentum for these guys going into next season and some things that we need to work on during off season. So I think it's just amazing right now for us.
What was the key to your success this weekend? What are you the happiest? You had some 2 wins, both coming from behind in different fashions.
The biggest thing for me was mindset, okay, mentality. Our main focus was just having that grit, that tenacity, just to push through all adversities with the referees calling different things. You know, the other variables, the 2 efforts that you control is your attitude and effort. So they came in and they brought it. Thank you.
Awesome. Congratulations to our winning captain, to our winning coach. I'm going to bring in Shea Flowers now, who's going to present our man of the match honors. Excuse me, guys. Sorry about that.
Congratulations, James. Our man of the match for the Challenger Cup.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
James Pearson, congratulations. Man of the match honors. I believe you're a sophomore, if that's I'm correct. Yep. What does it mean to win this Challenger Cup? How does this prepare you guys to take steps forward as a program when you become an upperclassman?
Oh, I mean, this is vital. This is our team next year, and this is what the guys we're going to be rolling into next year with. And I'm excited to get to work with them and have more reps with my guys.
Awesome. Well, congratulations on the MVP honors. I'm going to shoot it back to Tashay, who's getting ready to award the Challenger Cup trophy.
Well, congratulations to Davenport. Congratulations to Davenport. What a fantastic effort for them. Pearson is hoisted up on their shoulders. James Pearson, MVP, as we talked about defensively, but he also came in. He was called up at scrum half because Bota had to go to walk in graduation. Hoving gets moved to fly half. He's brought in to start at scrum half. I thought he did a terrific job. His passing was good. He worked very hard. He was a powerful runner. And as you said, Phil, made some big defensive plays.
Yeah, Pearson did everything right there, and he earned that MVP from this match. He was excellent across the board, as were several of the Davenport players. Congratulations to the Davenport Panthers, your 2026 CRA D1A Challenger Cup champions.
All right, everybody, but that will do it for us. We just want to thank everybody who has watched and supported, commented, supported these players, all the fans who came. We also want to thank Steel Dynamics. Steel Dynamics is the title sponsor of the 2026 CRA National Championship Series. Steel Dynamics, the new frontier of growth. Today's match is brought to you by 8x8 Sports, the presenting sponsor and official apparel partner of the College Rugby Association of America. 8x8 Sports, we move you forward. Looking to take your rugby team overseas with Irish Rugby Tours? Travel to Ireland, the UK, and Europe for international matches, pro-level training, and unforgettable memories. Start your journey now at irishrugbytours.com. Gainline Sports Management. Gainline, the official sports management partner of the College Rugby Association of America. Gainline, a testament to the power of leadership, innovation, and the relentless pursuit of excellence. USA Rugby is proud to partner with the College Rugby Association of America for the 2025-2026 academic year. With future USA Eagles taking the pitch today, USA Rugby is pleased to support this experience for all student athletes. Learn more about the USA Eagles and how you can get involved with USA Rugby. And USA Rugby has done a fantastic job. CRAA has done a fantastic job, and this caps off the season. What a season it has been, and we crowned some champions today. We crowned a champion in and this weekend, D1AA, a fantastic win for Western Washington, who will be moving up to D1A. Cal, D1A, I'll stay D1A, winning their second straight championship, and North Florida also claiming a championship yesterday, and then our challenger winners, Davenport, wrap up the weekend. Thank you so much, everybody. Today's broadcast was granted by the College Rugby Association of America. Any use of rebroadcast requires the written consent of the CRAA. For my partner, Phil Teal, also for Joey Rasmus, also for Rob Hammerschmidt, also for Jeremy Ognall, also for Tim Brothman, and our entire fantastic production team. Great job, guys. I'm Alex Goff. Thank you very much for watching.